All right, well, it is 10 a.m. Good morning, folks who are with us. Thank you for joining us as we prepare for week 5 of the 2021 Meac Weekly Football Coaches Video Conference. I am Karen Carty, the Assistant Commissioner for Media Relations at the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and I will serve as the moderator for today's meeting. I would like to remind the media members that to ask a question, please use the raise hand feature. And when you're acknowledged, please state your name and indicate the media outlet that you are representing. Before we hear from our coaches today, we will hear from Jeff Cunningham, the Director of Media Relations here at the Meac, who will provide us with this week's Meac notes. Jeff?
Thank you, Karen. Good morning, everybody. Norfolk State scored 21 points in the second half, and Meac Preseason Offensive Player of the Year, Jawan Carter, threw for 2 touchdowns and rushed for another as the Spartans came back to defeat St. Francis 28-16 this past Saturday to improve to 2-2 on the season. Quentin Williams threw for 254 yards and a touchdown in Howard's 22-16 loss to Robert Morris, and Jared Lewis threw a touchdown pass in Delaware State's 47-10 loss to Merrimack College. North Carolina Central got 178 receiving yards from Ryan McDaniel in a 37-14 loss to in-state rival North Carolina A&T. Conference play got underway for Meac volleyball this past weekend, and Delaware State's winning ways continued. The Hornets have now won a program record 10 matches in a row and sit tied atop the conference standings at 2-0, along with North Carolina Central. There's a log jam at 1-1 after the first weekend of league play, with Coppin State, Howard, Maryland Eastern Shore, and Morgan State all tied. North Carolina Central swept the team titles at the Greensboro Cross Country Invitational this past weekend, while the Howard women and Delaware State men won team titles at the Shore Invitational, hosted by Maryland Eastern Shore. South Carolina State Cross Country was in action in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're just weeks away from the 2021-2022 Meac bowling season getting underway, and North Carolina A&T State's Melanie Katon was named the Meac Preseason Bowler of the Year in a poll conducted by the league's head coaches and sports information directors. In addition, the defending champion Aggies, who are now an associate member of the Meac for women's bowling, are the preseason favorites to repeat, followed in the poll by Delaware State, Maryland Eastern Shore, Monmouth, and UAB. For more information on Meac football and the conference's 15 other sponsored sports, please visit meacsports.com. Follow the Meac on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Meac Sports, and subscribe to the Meac Digital Network on YouTube.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, we will get right into our coaches. First up, Larry Scott from Howard. Coach Scott, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well. All right, Coach, jumping right into it. So the Bison outscored Robert Morris in the second half on Saturday, taking a 1-point lead, but could not overcome the deficit they had in the first half, falling eventually by 6 points to the Colonials. Please recap that game for us.
I think it was just that it's kind of an ebb and flow 4-quarter game. Really came down to one possession for us. Late there in the game, with about 5 minutes left, we could have got a third down stop and got off and got the ball back with a 2-point lead. With the amount of timeouts we had and how the game had kind of worked out, and the time I say had, we would have been able to get one first down and run the clock out and get our first victory. So came down to one possession for us, a costly turnover early in the first half that led to 7 points. Really kind of was the difference in the game. A turnover that led to 7 points in the first half, and then not being able to get a third down stop when we really needed one there at the end of the game that could have put the game away. So it came down to got to continue to keep swinging and keep fighting and keep battling until we get on the other side of the column. But definitely something to build off of and get back to work too. We got back to work last night.
Nice. What were some of the things that worked well and what didn't in the Robert Morris game?
I think you saw our special teams that start there take a really big step for us, and we've been telling them all along that things were starting to come around. We finally got the personnel about right where we needed it to be to go out and execute and play at a high level, and you're starting to see that in our special teams game. Offensively, we had really kind of struggled a little bit on third down, and actually on the day we were over 50% on third down. So I think we took a really big step there for us. And being able to stay on the field, and we want to get our rep count up, and we were around about 72 to 70, I think it was 72 or 74 snaps in that game offensively. So we saw some of the things that we wanted to build on and get better at come to fruition. What we can't do is allow the amount of sacks and lost yardage plays that we had in that game with some of the pressures and things that we were seeing. I think was some of the negatives. And then, we wanted to tackle better. I thought we tackled a little bit better on defense. We didn't always do the right thing in that situation. But I think those are some of the things we did better, but we definitely got a lot of things we need to continue to improve upon.
Okay. Going back to that interception you mentioned earlier, quarterback Quentin Williams had impressive numbers besides the interception, completed 25 of 40 passes for 254 yards, had 2 touchdowns. Talk about his play during the game and so far this season.
Thus far this season, I think you've been seeing, besides the turnovers that we really, he works hard to eliminate, and obviously we don't want to see happen. He's been making some really good decisions at the line of scrimmage, getting us in some really good protection calls and adjustments and different things like that. And for the most part, it's really thrown some nice balls down the field, some deep balls and different things like that in that shape. But we can't have the turnovers. We want to continue to work hard to eliminate those, because if we can eliminate those and what we've been doing from an offensive standpoint, it could lead to better numbers and can lead obviously to wins. So we can eliminate that. That'd be a big step in the right direction for us.
Awesome. And then up next this week, you have Sacred Heart, a team that Morgan State played 2 weeks ago. Give us a preview of this game.
Just looking at them right now, they're a big team. They're kind of across the board. Their interior wise, O&D lines are, they have a lot of big guys up front there, and the running back is really good. I know they have their starter was down, but the kid that they brought in here, number 4, is played really well. I think he's from the DMV area here locally. So I mean, it's kind of a homecoming for him, and he'll be home and be able to play in front of his family and stuff. So, but I think they're really good with him carrying the football. Like I said, they're big up front, and they're going to try to establish the run game, I'm sure, and do those things at home. Defensively, again, they're big, athletic on the perimeter. They give you some variant fronts from 3 down to 4 down fronts, and give you some mixed looks and things like that. So we're definitely going to have to be on the schematical side of making sure we're right in what they do from a scheme standpoint. And just know that we're going to be in for a physical ball game here at home. It'll be our opener at home in Green Stadium, so the guys will be excited about that. Hopefully our students and administration, faculty, and everybody's excited about getting back home in Green Stadium and playing the game for the first time since November of 2019 at home. So hopefully it'll be an exciting time for us all.
Let's hope so, Coach. Good luck this week. These are all the questions I have for you. Do we have any media questions for Coach Scott? Mr. Williams?
Hi, Coach Scott. Luke Williams from the Black College Sports page. How are you this morning?
Well, how are you?
Close to being a victory on Saturday, wouldn't you say? I think that would constitute progress, would you not say?
Yeah, I mean, as you build anything, right, you want to celebrate the small victories. You have to find the small successes and victories to start to, transition into what it is to win. And like I tell these guys all the time, we're not trying to build a team or just win a game. We're trying to build a program where the program is built to understand that the process of winning is one that starts on Sunday night when we first go to practice. It's Sunday, it's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday. It's the whole process of learning how to win. And each and every week, we're going to take the time to refine every single detail of what that is, so that when the bubble does pop and we end up in the other side of the column, we become a football program that's built to sustain, a program that every time they walk out on the field, it's not if we have a chance to win, it's with the expectation that we're there to win, is what we're doing. So absolutely, you want to celebrate some of the small victories and some of the goals that we set within the game that actually, start to reach and all those type of things. Because as you build it, you want to be able to show them that, hey, brick by brick, this is the process of it all. We're not a microwave football program. You can't microwave a football program. You can't throw it in a microwave and expect that it's just going to all of a sudden, reverse and turn. Because when we turn, we're going to turn forever. And that's where we kind of keep our mindset. And therefore, our morale's high. The positivity within the program is really high. We're celebrating our small successes because we know the ones that we're really in hunt of are going to happen. And when they happen, we're going to be built for it.
Yeah, I was talk a little bit about Yamaza, I think his name is pronounced, and Murray in terms of how they caught the ball. And I thought Quentin missed some throws down the stretch that probably could have stretched the lead. Maybe if you could have put some more points on the board.
Absolutely, I think, and he knows that, and he sees them. There's probably about 2 or 3 throws in there that if he had them back, and we could hit those. It could be the difference in opening the game up, really, not just making it even close, really opening it up to a 2 or 3 point differential, 2 or 3 score differential. But that's the mark of, again, what you're talking about, the progress. He's the first one to recognize that missed that one. And that's one that I wish I had back, and that those are the ones that we're going to make here, and those are the ones that we're going to start to make, and that's going to start to be the difference for our program. But the way that some of our young guys are coming around and catching the ball, and like you said, you got to realize these are guys that are doing this stuff and performing now and having that progress as freshmen and sophomores. We return 95% of this team for the next 2 years. So what we're starting to see is a really quick glimpse into what the future can be like. But we got to stay in the moment right now and continue to build and keep our focus on that.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck against Sacred Heart.
Thank you.
All right, up next, Mr. Charlie Neal. Charlie, are you there?
You're on mute, Charlie. Unmute your mic.
See him.
Should be on the bottom. Should be on the bottom left, Charlie.
Yeah, he's unmuted. We just can't hear him.
Oh, okay.
All right, we'll come back to you, Charlie. Mr. Miller.
Hey, Coach. Good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm pretty good, Coach. I don't know if you talked about that play later in the fourth quarter where it was called down from the booth. The that catch later, the disputed catch later in the game.
Yep. We're still under the impression, the kid and everybody, that the ball's caught, and and that really, that you really look at it, that would have got us inside the 30-yard line with a fresh set of downs with 2 timeouts and a whole lot of time to kind of navigate and maneuver the high red, the low red there to get the ball in the end zone, which we had some plays and things schemed up a little bit that we thought we would have been able to have some success and find an open receiver down there late to win the game. But again, that buzz came in really, really late from the top, wherever it came from. And I don't think it was indisputable. I think that the evidence has to be indisputable to overturn the call on the field. Mm-hmm. So whatever it is that they saw, they overturned probably a really game-changing play in the course of how that game worked out. But like I told our guys, the what ifs are out. We can't make any excuses for it. It's done. It's over with. We got to press on and move forward to Sacred Heart. But in the big scheme of things, knowing just how close we truly are, and that winning comes down sometimes to a single possession, a single catch, and you don't know what play that's going to be in the game. So your focus and attention to detail and all that thing has to be that way throughout the game, because you don't know what play is going to make the difference in the game.
And Coach, moving on to Sacred Heart, they run a lot of run option on their offense. Has your team seen the run option this year? And if not, what will be the keys to stopping it?
I think, the good part about it is we've seen a lot of it in training camp. We have a little element to it in our offense that we have a day or two in camp where we really work that just so, for our defense and get a chance for us to work it offensively. And then, you saw a little bit of it along with the RPO fashion with it from Hampton and those type of things. But you saw some quarterback pulls and different things like that too with them. I think we've seen it enough to be able to, know what we want to do against it and those type of things. But we, still, defensively, we still got to get in position, get in the right position. We got to get the ball on the ground, and we got to execute at a better level than we have been against the run, whether it's read option run or just running the football. We got to shore up our defense in first early down run game.
And speaking of the defense, Coach, a lot of times, maybe on maybe 3 occasions during the game against Robert Morris, the middle seemed to be wide open on 3rd down and long, and that was a key part of the game. So can you talk about what it's going to take to fix that?
Well, I think just being a little bit more aligned in what we want to do coverage wise in those situations, in down and distances, and really looking at some of our pressures and different things that we're doing that's leaving the middle of the field wide open. So I think that's something that we control more as coaches on the defensive side of the ball, and myself with getting some of the things shored up and what we want to do with that, and having enough coverage variation where if we're going to do that, we're protecting somehow the middle of the field, but we cannot let receivers run in the middle of the field in critical downs like that. You're exactly right.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hill.
Coach Scott, the ongoing conversation of building a winner at Howard. You're a winner, winning football. Can you just articulate what you envision and again, just move forward and build quality student athletes?
I think it's all of it, right? It's the holistic approach to it all, is what we're doing. And like I said, you can't microwave building a program. It just doesn't happen. And there's so much education that goes on within the program. That's just not with player to coach, but coach to coach, player to support staff, player to the hotel staff, the coach to the player. That's what the vision is and what it looks like on an everyday basis of what the week looks like. Today's a Monday, it's an off day for our players, so it's a big time academic day. Being with the academic counselors and support, but tying all of that together for them to understand that that's a part of winning. Because when you're not taking care of your academics, you're not taking care of what you need to take care of to help us win, both on and off the field and to graduate. So tying it all together for these young people on a daily basis as to what the expectations and standards are to win is truly important, which makes it a grind, makes it a process each and every day. We got to be willing to teach, mentor, educate all the way through it. And the results that we're starting to see on Saturdays with getting a little bit closer each and every week. I think is a direct reflection of what we're doing on Sunday, on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday. And it's a process, and to get young people to be process driven is a challenge for us all right now, because in the world they live in, everything is just instant gratification right now. So to have that time and to really educate through the process of what that means in offense, defense, special teams, but how it relates to going to school, sitting in front of your classes, logging in on time, and all that stuff being all a part of it is truly a process. But in small, we're making small strides towards that, but now we want to get in the other side of the column, because believe me, we want to win on Saturdays as well.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Charlie, did you get your audio going? No, still can't hear you. You can type your questions to me in the chat and I'll get them out. Oh, I think we can hear you.
You can?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Very good. Morning, Coach. How are you?
Good, Charlie. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad I got this worked out. Let's talk a little bit about the game this weekend. Your passing game has been pretty sound so far, but you're going against a team that doesn't allow a lot of continued passing yards. What is your strategy going against the team this Saturday?
Yeah, they have been pretty good against the pass, and I think a lot of it too. They haven't truly been tested in the passing game either. So our guys are definitely up for that challenge, and that's definitely one that we pointed out already very early on, what kind of challenge that's going to be for us, because this generation of kids, they still love the challenge. And you present the challenge to them, they still go after it. So they love being challenged, and so that's definitely one of the challenges that we have. And the other piece to it too is to bring a little bit more balance to what we're doing. We got to run the football a little bit better in early downs and things like that. I mean, we've had a game where we've rushed for over 100 yards, got pretty close to rushing for over 100 yards this week, right at 96. If you take away the lost yardage plays that we had, which is way too many, the negative plays, and a lot of it resulted, comes from 6 sacks that took away from that. So we got to, get back to adding more balance and creating balance in the run game and in our passing game. But it's definitely a challenge that I think our young receivers and young quarterback will be up to, especially as we start getting ready to go into conference play. We welcome these type of challenges right now as we keep building this program.
One of the things you have to feel good about is the lack of penalties your team has been able to stay away from this season. Both teams are pretty good when it comes to being least penalized as far as nationally ranked.
Yeah, and then I think that's one of the things that's a part of the program identity. Smarter, tougher, more disciplined. More disciplined, it means having the discipline to do the little things the right way. And I tie everything to a penalty, Charlie. Everything we do, if there's a locker infraction with something in the locker not being placed where it needs to be, or a shoe out of place, that's a penalty. A guy is late for class or class miss, or not on time for a meeting, that's penalties. We pay for penalties in our program. So they kind of, how the program is developed and woven is everything is woven into making sure we get that discipline in every little detail. You can't be a disciplined team on the team, but then on the field, but the locker room's a mess. It's out of place. You're late for meetings. You're unaccountable to what the dress of the day is. You're doing all of those type of things. So the program is built to eliminate penalties on a daily basis, not just in a game. We talk about it, constantly all the time. And if you have guys that have that type of attention to the little things and more discipline to do it over and over and over and over and over again, you can find yourself being one of the least penalized teams, and that's a big key to winning. So again, that's one of the major pieces that we're trying to continue to build and continue to build upon.
Final thought is the fact that you talked about trying to get your running game back up to speed and have a more balanced attack. But your run defense has struggled a little bit also. What are you doing about that?
Yeah, that's something that we're talking about and visiting about as a staff, because it starts with us. And the kids want to be successful. We got them playing hard. They're playing hard, not always smart sometimes, but they're still playing really, really hard for us. So we got to do all that we can from a schematical standpoint to put the right personnel on the field, put the right people in the right situations, get them the right calls, different things like that to kind of help them out. One thing I love about the group is their physicality, and they do fly around and we'll hit people and different things like that. We work really hard on our tackling to be more, to be better there. We really cut that down big time this week. So definitely something we can build upon there. But you're definitely right. Something that we got to do a little bit more better job of, especially in particularly early downs, so that we can put people in the third down situations that we want them to play in. We want to dictate a little bit more defense. And to do that, you got to play well. You got to play good run stopping defense on first and second down.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, Coach Scott, thank you so much for being with us today. Good luck this weekend, and we'll see you next week.
All righty. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. See you next week.
Take care. The Bison will play at home this Saturday against Sacred Heart. Kickoff will be at 1 p.m. at Green Stadium in Washington, D.C., and the game can be seen live on the Meac Digital Network on ESPN+. Up next, we have Trey Oliver, head coach at North Carolina Central. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning. How you doing?
Good. All right, Coach, jumping right into it. Your Eagles couldn't pull out the victory against rival North Carolina A&T, but Saturday's game was much more competitive than when the teams met in 2019. Review Saturday's game for us.
Well, it was a great environment to play some football, and it was a packed house there, and the crowd was definitely into it. Playing a good football, we played a really good football team in North Carolina A&T, and I didn't think that our guys played well at all, and I was very disappointed in our execution. I thought the effort was still there, but I didn't think that that we played very well at all. And I think we have to do a little bit better job of playing complementary football from all three phases: offense, defense, and the kicking game. And something we got to go back to the drawing board and work to get better on, improve on next week.
Okay. What else does Saturday's game tell you about the team's potential heading down the stretch?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What did Saturday's game tell you about the team's potential heading down the stretch?
Well, I mean, same thing that I've known all along. We have a good football team. We have talented young men, and I think we have a good coaching staff. But we have to improve, and we have to execute. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's one loss this past weekend, and we're not going to hang our heads. We got in the office yesterday, made some corrections. We'll come with a game plan for Mississippi Valley today, and we're going to move on. But we were upset and disappointed about the loss, but we're not going to hang our head and let that cost us another loss down the stretch. So we'll improve.
Gotcha. This weekend, you'll travel out west, like you just mentioned, to face Mississippi Valley State, who are winless on the season. Talk about that matchup for us.
That might be one of the best winless teams in the country. Obviously, they're in the SWAC and they play good brand of football down there. They play some tough teams, some really good opponents. So they've been in some games early, and then things got away from them a little bit. But they do have some talent at the skill position primarily. I think their quarterback is outstanding. I believe he started as a true freshman at Portland State prior to transferring. And they are a physical football team that fly around. They play fast, and they're a gritty bunch of guys.
Awesome, Coach. Well, good luck on Saturday. Those are the questions that I have for you. Let's hear from Dr. Cavill.
Coach Oliver, can you expound? Good morning first. I apologize.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir. Could you expound a little bit on the notion of playing complementary football? We hear that lexicon, but would like to go a little more in detail of what that looks like schematically for you.
Well, first on offense, you can't keep going 3 and out. You have to convert, and we want you always have saying we want every drive to end with the kick, whether it be a field goal or a punt. We did a decent job of protecting the football, but at the same time, we had to sustain some drives and help our defense out with field position. So the offense can get 2 or 3 first downs, then our special teams comes out and we punt, have a good 45-yard punt. Now we have them backed up and they don't help the defense out. From there, defense come out there and do their thing, and but the offense can't go 3 and out or turn the ball over and give the ball back to an explosive offense like North Carolina A&T. At some point in time, your defense is going to wear it down. But and I'm not just saying it was offense, also it was just the offense. I thought our defense needed to come up with some big stops, and we struggled stopping the run. So you just have to be able to put it all together. And I thought we did early in the year at times, but this is probably the worst game we had of the year as far as playing as a team.
I understand that, and I appreciate expounding on that. Moving quickly to the next game in terms of Mississippi Valley State. Did you get a chance to watch their game since they happen to play on Sunday against Southern University? Is that where you're getting the fact, along with their other games, I suppose, that they're a pretty good team, although their record is 0-4? What do you see in that matchup?
Well, obviously we were up all night last night watching the other games, and they had an issue with their film exchange, so we didn't get the film until probably about an hour ago from this last game. I did get a chance to watch the TV copy last night. They like I said, they are fast. They have very fast skilled players. A couple of receivers that can really run. The quarterback is a dual threat guy that can beat you with his feet as well as his arm. And you can't look at the record because they have played some really good competition. I think 1 or 2 of them are ranked in the top 25. But it's not about Valley, it's about us, and we just have to play our brand of football that we know we can play. And I think we're very close to it. We've had to juggle around some guys in our starting lineup and here and there, and we just have to close the gap a little bit between our starters and the guys that are coming in, our backups. You don't know when your number's going to be called, so you have to be ready and you have to be able to perform at a high level.
Last question I have for you, a little bit off the field, is your schedule. Do you like the framework of your schedule, the mix, rivalry game, non-conference, Division II fold, couple of SWAC matchups, and things of that nature? Do you like the mix that's going on with your schedule at this time?
Yeah, and the schedule was done years back. When we did lose Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M, we were kind of scrambling, trying to get some games because, most schedules are done 3 and 4 years prior to. Yes, so Tennessee Tech did have a date open and Mississippi Valley had a date open. So that worked out. But I do like to, playing other, schools from different conferences. I think it helps with your the development of your team. Obviously, you'll see different styles of offenses and defenses in the league. So, it'll make you stay up on your game. But we don't mind. Like I said, we'll play anybody.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for your time, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Hill?
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Pretty good, sir. Thank you. Totten, Richard, your running game, and McDaniel, your running game, your passing game, and your receiving game. Can you just talk about those three pieces fitting together like a glove?
Well, you have to be able to run the football to open up the passing game. And, you know, since Coach Broadway's been at North Carolina A&T for the past 20 years, they've been really good, had a really good run defense. But you have to figure out how to muster up some run yards to be able to stay somewhat balanced. You can't just keep throwing the football every down. And, you know, we thought we had a good plan, but we didn't execute. And we do have some guys out, but still, that's not an excuse. We still have to play much better football. Our passing game, I think we struggled a little bit there because we got behind in the chains, whether it would be a penalty or us not converting on first down. You have to win first down to have a chance to win third down. So on first down, when you get stuffed, and now with 2nd and 10, you're not on schedule and you're behind the chains. You throw an incomplete pass, now it's 3rd and long. And we were in quite a few 3rd and long situations, +8, and we struggled converting. I think we were 3 out of 12 or something like that on 3rd down, which is terrible. And it all works together, like you're saying. So you got to be able to run the football, stay on schedule, you know, get 3 yards of first down, so you have an opportunity to convert on 3rd down. And I did not think that we did a very good job of that, which is the reason why we struggled on 3rd down.
Coach, Valley actually played in Jackson yesterday. On Saturday, they get an opportunity to finally play at home. Can you just talk about going in there and doing what you guys do? And again, the football game could be anywhere, but it'll be at Valley. Can you just talk about going into the Delta?
Right. Well, we've been on the road quite a bit so far this stretch, but that is a tough place to play. I've had an opportunity to coach there several times, and that's a tough environment. You know, the airport's 2 hours away. It's kind of in a very secluded area, rural area, and it's just a little different atmosphere there. And you really have to be focused on the task at hand and on the game. I believe it's going to be their homecoming as well, so it'll be other distractions. But at the same time, you know, it's football. So let's just go down there, play football, execute, win a football game, and come on back to Durham. It's not physics. It's just football.
Thank you, sir. Do you fly into Memphis or Jackson?
Oh, we're going to fly into Jackson.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Coach Oliver, thank you so much for being here with us today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much, Karen. You have a good day.
You too, thanks.
Bye.
The Eagles travel to Itabena, Mississippi on Saturday to face Mississippi Valley State, the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. Kickoff is set for 4 p.m. Eastern at Rice-Totten Stadium. Up next, we have Rod Millstead of Delaware State. Good morning, Coach Millstead. How are you?
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. How are you?
I'm well. All right, Coach. So the Hornets couldn't get it clicking on all cylinders this past Saturday. Talk about the Merrimack game for me.
Merrimack game is the tale of two halves. First half, we played Delaware State football. The second half, I think we went to sleep. It was very disappointing. The second half, offensively, defensively, we just didn't get it done. And so we're back at the drawing board today. We watched the film. We see where we lacked and the mistakes that we've made. And we got to get those things corrected for this week against Wagner.
All right. So the Hornets had their lowest passing production of the season on Saturday. What did the Warriors do to cause that problem?
They played a complete game of football. Defensively, they had two defensive game plans. The first one probably in the first half, and I think the second half they made some adjustments to stop our running game, which sets up our passing game. We still had over 139 yards of rushing yards, and of course we want more, but our passing production this week was the lowest of the season. And we got to find a way to put the ball in our playmakers' hands. And we didn't do a very good job of that last week. But, we're going to get those things corrected.
All right. Well, this Saturday, the Hornets will look to put the Merrimack contest behind them and focus on this week's opponent, which is the 0-4 Wagner Seahawks. What is the film showing you about Wagner?
Wagner's a scrappy team that's looking for a win. They got a quarterback. I think he's a bounce back, and he's very productive. He can beat you with his feet, or he can beat you with his arm. They're definitely a very positive 0-4 football team up front. Offensive line wise, they're kind of young and they're trying to find their way, but their defensive line gives you problems along with their linebacking core. So it's going to be a good matchup for us at their place. Of course, it's probably going to be a rowdy crowd up there in New York, and we got to have a great week of practice to go up there and get the job done.
Awesome, Coach. Those are all the questions I have for you. Let's go to the media now for any questions they may have. Dr. Cavill?
Yes, Coach Millstead. Wanted to ask you, you got off, like you said, in the first half, were able to get a touchdown and field goal, and things didn't quite go the same in the second half. But in terms of the first half, what were some of the things that you liked that your team was able to get done offensively and defensively?
I think we played a complete football game. Offensively, offense completed. Complemented our defense, and vice versa. Put a lot of pressure on their quarterback, disguised coverages that didn't give him an opportunity to kind of pick us apart like he did the second half. Really, that third quarter was really big. Gave up a 78-yarder third play of the third quarter, which really just hurt us. And then we came back, thought we'd try to take a shot, and quarterback held the ball up in the air too long, and they got picked off by the safety, and that led to another touchdown. So we got down pretty quickly in the third quarter, which was hard to come back from. And offensively, we just couldn't get it going. They changed their defensive front, their defensive style, and it kind of shocked us for a second. But we got to execute better, up front. And I think that's where our shortcomings came. We didn't execute well.
Follow-up question as we move forward is you talked about Wagner being a very scrappy team, although they're 0-4. They're coming into play. They think they can play with Delaware State. What are some schematic things that they look at doing that you believe that you could physically get done against them?
We got to be physical. That's the biggest thing. We have to go back to playing Delaware State University football and being very, very physical at the point of attack. And it starts up front with our offensive line and also our defensive line. We got to get to their quarterback, and offensively, we got to move their D-line to give our running back an opportunity to run. And like I said earlier, we got to put the ball in our playmakers' hands. We got playmakers on the outside, and we haven't been utilizing them like we should. And that's going to be a big emphasis this week on getting the ball to our playmakers and let them make plays for us. So it should be an exciting game. A game that we really need. We need to rebound from it. We've had 3 straight losses, 2 of those being at home, and that's not a good feeling. Our guys are pretty bummed out about it, but we're very optimistic and can't wait to get back to practice tomorrow.
Your team has been fighting, like you said, and they've been in a couple of those games and they got away from them. But in terms of Wagner, if you'd allow me to take a little deeper dive into physicality, obviously in football, teams go in the weight room and lift the weights to try to get more physical. When you talk about physical, is that more of a mental approach to the game, or are you literally talking about the physicality of getting bigger and stronger in the weight room?
Both. When I'm talking about physical, I'm talking about using your will, using the tools that God blessed you with, using leverage, using your legs, making sure that when their ball carrier has it, we got 6, 7, 10, 11 guys on him at all times. That's the physicalness, being able to change the line of scrimmage on offense, and also getting knocked back when they're playing offense, to get some knockback, to change those running lanes, to make the running back make a different decision. That's what I'm talking about. We're talking about physical, being able to imply your will, your physical will onto an opponent. And I think we've done that to a certain extent, but I haven't seen it for 4 quarters. I want us to be the dominant 4-quarter football team. And we keep showing snippets of how we can be a good football program, but we haven't completed the deal yet. And I'm not making excuses. We're still young, and that's part of it. It's part of the maturation process. But, you get to a point where you want to see the fruits of your labor. and it's on God's time, not on Rod's time. And we just got to continue to press forward. And, we're going through this trials and tribulations, and I know it's going to make us stronger in the end.
Thank you, Coach, for your time and taking me a little more inside the program, getting an understanding of the nature of how you want to play. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Mr. Hill?
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Jared Lewis in the pocket, making throws and doing his thing. Can you just assess your quarterback play and what you see so far?
I think Jared is on track. Didn't have his best game this weekend. A lot of throws that were simple throws he missed. Don't know if he was excited or what the reason was. But then some throws that I kind of cover my eyes, and he thread the needle. So he's still young. He's a sophomore, redshirt sophomore with not a whole lot of playing time. But Jared's going to get better. He's a dynamic player. He makes good decisions when he runs the ball and when he chooses it, when he's allowed to throw. And we're just wanting him to spend more time probably in the pocket, because Jared is a dual threat. He's liable to run on you at any point. But I thought Saturday is probably his not his best game, but I know he's eager because he's already been in yesterday and already come through this morning, and he's watching a boatload of film so that he can get better for Saturday.
Coach, the line of scrimmage, you know how important that can be as a world champion. Can you talk about just the line of scrimmage, the offense, and your line and what you see there so far?
Offensively, we have a lot of work to do, and it's probably hypocritical because their head coach is an offensive line guy. But we got a lot of work to do at the point of attack and just staying on blocks. And that was something that I wasn't happy with this weekend. We make good contact, and then we fall asleep. Our feet fall asleep, and that's the worst thing that an offensive lineman can do. Our defensive line, they get after you. Matter of fact, they're making our offensive line better each week, but they get after you. They are changing the line of scrimmage every play. They're going after the quarterback. They're very, very hungry, and that's probably, if you look at the two lines, our defensive line is a step above our offensive line, but they're making our offensive line better because we're doing a lot of good on good during practices.
Thank you, sir. Good luck going forward.
Thank you.
All right, the Yard HBCU Sports.
Yes, good morning, Coach. This is Dwayne Nash from the Yard HBCU Sports.
Good morning.
Yes, when I spoke to you back in 2019, we talked about the philosophy of you scheduling your games close to Dover. And I understand that you schedule games years in advance, but once again this year, with the exception of your trip to East Tennessee State, again, it seems as though that you don't have to travel too far outside of the state of Delaware. Can you talk about that philosophy and how that's beneficial to your program?
Well, it's part of the grand scheme of things. Delaware State, just like a lot of other HBCUs, we don't have a money printing facility behind us. Okay, so we have to be very selective on how we use the resources that we have. So making a schedule so that you can play as many games as home or close to home instead of getting on an airplane, which we did that a few weeks ago, and that figures over six figures. It's a tough deal. It puts a big dent in your budget. But also, we wanted to play games that will help us build our program. And I know we used to have a model here where we go out and play, those big FBS schools for a big payday. And I just personally, I think when your school is ready to step up to that competition, then you schedule those games. I just don't think that we're there yet. I think we have to find a way to learn how to win and how to learn how to win consistently so that we can be competitive when we go play those games. And like I said, that's just my personal assessment. I know others may feel differently, feel that, in order to be the best, you got to play the best, but you got to get to that level. If you ask me, you wouldn't ask a grown man to play football with somebody in Pop Warner. He's too big, he's too strong, he's too fast. So you have to build up, wait till that young boy gets to about high school or college, and then you say, hey, let's have that game now, okay, so that it can be competitive. And that's just my personal assessment. And a few years down the road, matter of fact, I'm actually trying to schedule something in 2026, if you can believe we schedule out that far, to do an FBS game down the road. But as of right now, no, we're going to continue to play 6-7 home games a year, as long as we can. And then, when we get the program get to that point, we'll schedule some FBS teams.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Coach Millstead, for your time this morning. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The Hornets travel to Staten Island, New York this Saturday to face the Wagner Seahawks. Kickoff will be at 5 p.m. The game will be broadcast live on NEC Front Row. Up next, we have Norfolk State head coach Dawson Odoms. Good morning, Coach Odoms. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm well. All right, Coach, your NSU Spartans are on a 2-game winning streak thanks to their 28-16 victory at St. Francis this past Saturday. Share with us your thoughts on that game.
Well, I thought we played inspired football on the road, interesting environment, and you really just got to keep getting better, keep chopping wood, carrying water, and that's our motto, and just focus on what's in front of us. And I thought the attitude all week, and each week is about getting better, outworking each day, and just focusing in on this process. And I thought the first half, we played inspired football, made a lot of penalties. We were fortunate to be down 10-7, and halftime made a couple of adjustments, and guys came out and played inspired football. And I think you got to be tested. We were tested in the football game against a very good St. Francis football team. They have some talent on that football team, but we made the necessary plays to come away with a victory. And you can really see a difference in this football team. I don't really know what it used to look like in the past, but since we've been here in July, and we're talking about in a short period of time, you're able to see a different heartbeat. You're able to see a different mentality. And that's a testament to our assistant coaches and the players for just trying to buy into a new process. And if we can keep getting better at that process, we're going to have an opportunity going down the stretch to hopefully be competitors in October.
All right, Coach, you mentioned it a little bit that you all were behind at halftime, but made adjustments after the break. What did you tell the team in the locker room?
Well, it's the penalties. The penalties were stopping some of our drives, and defensively, it was tackling. We didn't tackle very well in the first half, but we held the team to 90 yards in the second half on defense, which I thought was outstanding football. They were 2 of 12 on third down, which give you a chance to win football games. And we played much better run defense in the second half, and that's our calling card. We believe that if we can stop the run, we're going to have a chance to win football games. But offensively, they made plays. We put the ball in our running back's hand. I think we rushed for over 300 yards. And when you can run the football like that and you're not an option football team, it says a lot about your offensive line, but it also says a lot about your receivers, because we had some explosive plays and the guys bought in. We knew it was going to be an ugly game just because of how they play on defense. They're different. They line up all over the place, and they bring guys from different positions and slanting the line. So we just had to be patient. And as a staff, this is our first time really being tested from a patient standpoint. And I thought our offensive staff did an outstanding job of sticking to the game plan. And we relied on our O-line and everybody else to run block, and we put it in the hands of some backs, and we think we got some very good backs.
Awesome. This Saturday, it's a date with NSU's old rival, Hampton, in the Battle of the Bay. What do you expect in this contest?
Well, I just expect us to go ahead and play, inspired football. I think when you talk about rivalry games, I've been a part of them. We don't get too big in them. I really think the platform of what you're trying to instill in your young man is still the same in our process. You hear me say it a lot. We don't deviate from that process regardless who we playing. We try to just make sure that we're locked in, attention to detail, and we understand what we're playing for and why we're playing the game. It's the next one on our schedule, and it so happens to be Hampton. And we got to get better at the little things. And if we keep focused on those things, we don't really worry about who we playing. It's all about the Norfolk State Spartans taking care of business and making sure that we're getting better. If we can focus on that and quit reading newspaper clippings, everybody want to pat you on the back, block out the noise, and just focus on today and being the best we can on Monday. And we'll worry about Tuesday when you get here.
Awesome, Coach. Those are my questions for you. We will now have our media questions, beginning with Mr. Brian Smith.
Coach, good morning. Hope all is well. Can you assess the first 3 games in from your vantage point? How is this team shaping up?
Well, I always said that the 4th game would probably be a telltale of who we are and what that story is going to look like. And mentally, you can see growth. I think you're able to see us compete all the way for 60 minutes against Toledo and Wake Forest. You see us come home, play against Elizabeth City and take care of business there. I thought we were dominant against a team we're supposed to be dominant against. Then you go on the road and take on the Northeast and, a long trip out in the middle of nowhere and trying to keep your team focused and locked in on the process. And checking into the hotel, we had good vibes. We had a good week of practice, and we came out in the first half and we played competitive football. It didn't go our way. The ball didn't bounce our way every time, but that's okay. That's football. Are we a healthy football team? No, we got some guys that are injured. That's a part of the game. I just choose to focus on the guys that are playing and focus on the atmosphere that we have. I don't worry about all that other stuff that we can't control, because at the end of the day, we go kick off. And that's the message we give our team. Let's go play football with who we got. And you know what? I believe that's enough. I believe in this team. I believe in these guys. And, I love the heartbeat of this football team. And that's what you got a chance to see in game 4 was the heartbeat of the Spartans. And I thought we rise to the occasion and made the necessary plays to come away with a win.
Just one follow-up. In terms of adjustments, how proud are you of these guys? No matter what the circumstances, they seem to have the ability to adjust on the fly when necessary. And that looked the case against St. Francis.
Well, a lot of it is believing, and that's half the battle. First, you got to believe in what you're doing. You got to believe in the people that's around you. And my whole motto since I've been here is that if they know you love and care about them, they have a better time adjusting to what you're asking them to do. And I'm one of those coaches. It's not too many days go by where I'm not texting these guys and telling them how much I love them, because I know what that's like. I know what it's like to not have a father in my life to tell me that. Our locker room is growing and growing and growing, and we're getting closer and closer. I just hate the fact that I'm not able to be in these senior lives a few more years, because you can see the impact that's taking place from my coaching staff to them and for them to us. We're getting to know each other on the job. It's one of the hardest things I think I've had to endure as a person and as a coach, is that taking over in May and just building these relationships as the season go. But I take my hat off to the assistant coaches and these players for sacrificing and buying in and believing what we're putting on the table, because we got a chance. And as long as we keep doing the little things, I think we'll have a chance this week. It's going to be a good football game against a very good opponent. And we're just excited to continue to get better and have an opportunity to play in.
All right, the Yard HBCU Sports.
Yes, good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Great, great.
Now, statistically, Juwan Carter didn't have a great game, but he still gave you 3 touchdowns in a very scrappy game in a win over St. Francis. And you talked about it a couple of times already this morning in terms of buying in. And you also talked about you coming in to Norfolk in May. So can you talk a little bit about what Carter buying into your style of play, or is it more so that you've decided to adjust your coaching style to the way that Carter plays? It's not as though that you haven't had a dual threat quarterback in your program before, but can you talk if it's been more so you buying into him, or or you adjusting to him, or him buying more so into your program?
Well, I think it's more so understanding the players that you have, getting to know them, getting a chance to evaluate them and see what their abilities are. Our offensive coordinator, Coach Sherman, he was here, so he has a better idea of the talent that we have on offense. And I think that was one of the decisions that went into putting your staff together, was just making sure you gave yourself a chance to be successful. We knew it was a lot of pieces of the puzzle coming back on offense, and it starts with Carter. We know he had a great understanding of the offense that he was in, and we didn't want to blow it up. We wanted to have some consistency, and I felt like if we could keep our offense together, they had enough talent over there to be successful. And Carter is that guy. I mean, I think he is getting better, but it's the leadership that he's playing with. It's the poise. Coach Myers is doing a great job of coaching up the quarterbacks in his room. And that, to me, is where you see the growth. It's not about whether or not he's adapting to the philosophy that we have. It's about us believing in each other as a team, and we all getting better. It's just like being a stepdad to somebody that's 17, 18 years old. You don't expect them to call you dad. You just expect them to respect you as a father. And as the head football coach of this team, I'm appreciative of the fact that these seniors respect me enough as their head football coach, and be able to just say, you know what, we go try it coach way and believe in it. But success helps that. If we weren't having any success, it would be harder to turn the corner. So each week we get a little bit better, and our leaders are doing an outstanding job. And Carter is one of those guys that we call captain. And so his leadership is through the roof. He's taking the steps necessary, not only to be a great quarterback, but also be a great leader. And I'm proud of him for that fact.
All right. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Mr. Hill?
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir. Congratulations on all the success you're having with the Spartans. You have your team marching forward. You're putting your stamp on your team. Can you talk about just going into a big-time game? It's a big-time HBCU rivalry week. And when you look at the quarterback for Hampton, you see Jet Duffy. He had 14 of 22 for 302 in the Howard game. When you look across the Bay, what do you see?
Very talented football team. They have an identity of who they are and what they're trying to do. The quarterback is a dual threat guy. He's dynamic. He can hurt you with his arm and his feet. Offensive line is a big offensive line that opens some holes up for running backs that are very talented. They're a very talented offensive group, and defensively, they're going to be who they are. They line up and say, you got to beat us. And they have some special guys on special teams. So it's going to be one of those games where you don't let the emotions get the best of you. And I always believe that in big games. They're coming off a bye week. They're going to be a fresh football team. We're a little beat up and banged up, but you know what? That's a part of this game. And I stated that earlier. We're not concerned. We believe what we got to do on this side of the water. We got to get our football team ready to play. And I don't think it's going to take any motivation. It ain't going to take no rah-rah speech. It's going to take us just executing at a high level, being who we are, and believing in each other and staying together. Whether we're up, whether we're down, we're going to stay positive, and we're going to trust the process. And we believe that in the end, that process is something we lean our hat on, and we hang it on, because we have a great understanding of who we are. So it ought to be a fun football game. Hadn't took place in a while, and some of our guys hadn't even played in it. So the opportunity just to be able to be in the conditions that we're in, to be able to have the Battle of the Bay, I think is outstanding, not only for our community, but also the Hampton community. It's what makes rivalry special, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Coach, you've been a part of big-time games like this as a player with Central. You've also coached in them with the SWAC during your times in the SWAC at Southern, and now you're back in the Meac on the Meac side. Can you just talk about the HBCU experience and why this is so important to the culture and the fabric of our people and our history?
Well, I think this is the reason why you choose the two schools. I think it's the reason you come to Norfolk State, is to be able to play in these caliber of football games. I think from a cultural standpoint, we have our own identity when it comes to HBCUs. I think when you pull up into a rivalry game, you see culture on site. You see the people shaking hands and tailgating together. It's a family environment. Even though we're going to pull for our teams, we're together. And I think that's what makes the HBCU family so great, is that no matter what school you participate at or attended, we're together. We support each other. This is a great environment to be in, even though it's a rivalry. It's a family rivalry. You know, you got husband and wives that may went to different schools. One went to Norfolk, one may have went to Hampton. But at the end of the day, we understand what it means to our institution and our fans. And it's bragging rights for 364 days until you get ready to do it all over again. But I'm excited to be a part of the Bay, the Battle of the Bay. And I just think it's another opportunity for some excitement to take place in the state of Virginia.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy your week.
Thank you.
All right. Brian Smith has another question.
Coach, what message do you have for fans for both sides? Because I've seen both teams this year. I have a funny feeling it's going to be one of those, whoever has the ball last is going to win the game. What do you tell fans? Don't go anywhere. don't. Is it going to be one of those classic games that we may not haven't seen in years?
Well, I don't know. I just think it's too many factors that play into a football game for me to go out on a limb and say what kind of game it's going to be. But I believe it's going to be a exciting and competitive football game. I think you got two teams that are eager to showcase who they are and what they bring to the table, and I think that's fun. I think the coaching staff over there at Hampton is doing an outstanding job. And again, when you're usually coming off a bye week, it's tough. It's tough playing against a team because they have a few wrinkles up their sleeves, and you just got to play fundamentally sound football and execute. But I think at the end of the day, one thing I think this game will bring is a competitive nature to it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Odoms, for your time today, and good luck this weekend.
Always a pleasure. Behold, the green and gold.
Norfolk State will take the short trip to Hampton to face the Pirates on Saturday in the Battle of the Bay. Kickoff is set for 2 p.m. at Armstrong Stadium, and the game can be seen live on ESPN+. Up next, we have South Carolina State head coach Buddy Pugh. Good morning, Coach Pugh. How are you?
Good morning, Karen. How are you?
I am well. Good to see you. All right, Coach. This week, your Bulldogs were off. What did the team concentrate on during this week's practices?
Well, we worked on trying to fix some of the issues we'd had in the prior 3 games. We'd gotten banged up a little bit. We got a chance to kind of heal a little bit and then do the usual things. You reassess yourself, you self-study, you do the things that you can figure out, might be beneficial to you down the road a piece.
Awesome. Looking over the team's first 3 games, what are the areas you're most pleased with and the areas of most concern?
The area of the most concern is the fact that we 0-3. It's pretty obvious, huh? And, we need to figure out how to be 3-0. Now, I don't know if that can work or not, but we got to figure out how to win from this point on. So we've had some scoring issues. Anytime you play a schedule like we have and you're giving up the kind of points that we're giving up, it's painfully obvious that we need to do something different somewhere, defensively in particular. I guess we're giving them about 44 points a game. So it's an issue to try to see if we can, slow somebody down. Right now, we're not doing much pass or run defense wise. And, we got our work cut out for us. Bethune's coming in here, it's the battle of the offers. It's 2 of us having done pretty similar kinds of things. We played at A&M, at Clemson, at New Mexico State. They played at UTEP, at UCF. They played home against Alabama A&M, but then they went on the road and played at Alabama State this past week. So we're very similar in our approach to having done what we do, trying to make a few bucks and trying to put a schedule together. So, that's part of what we'll have now, given our circumstance in our league. We only have 6 teams, so it gives us an opportunity to play at least 5 non-conference games. 2 or 3 of those are going to be these kinds of guaranteed money games, and most of them are packed toward the beginning. because that's the time of the year that most of those fit, within our schedule. So we know what we're at. We know what we're trying to do exact to be more exact, and we just need to make sure that we understand that.
Good stuff. So as you mentioned, Bethune-Cookman is coming to Oliver C. Dawson Stadium this Saturday. What are you expecting in this battle of the Bulldogs and the Wildcats?
Well, I expect the usual South Carolina State, Bethune-Cookman kind of football game. We've made I guess maybe habit of winning at each other's place. The last time we played here, they won. The last time we played there, we won. So it's not anything unusual for the road team to win this game, and this happened several times in the past. So, we need to be extremely prepared to be able to deal with back against the wall sort of kind of Bethune-Cookman team, knowing that these guys will give everything they've gotten to, to be successful against South Carolina State, and just generally, anybody when you're 0-4. So, it'll be a tough game for us, and, we need to make sure that we got all our ducks in a row.
Awesome, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend. Those are the questions that I have for you. We'll now go to the media questions with Mr. Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach, good morning to you.
Hey, Ty, how are you?
I'm good, Coach. As you mentioned, this has been a long-time rivalry between you and Bethune-Cookman. Any thought given to the fact that they're no longer in the MEAC and it's a non-conference game? So does it take any luster off it as far as the conference race is concerned?
No, I don't think so. It's the dogs and the cats. We fight like, it's always going to be, let's see who can one up the other. It's a big game for us. We play FAMU next week. So you had the same question, in a couple of weeks that way. And, I can answer now that anytime we go on the field against these guys, it's war. So I don't know if we know any other way. So we'll just go out and see if we can do the very best we can to show some improvements of football team. Our big issue right now, Ty, is not quite as much Bethune, though, as it is South Carolina State.
Mm-hmm.
We got to figure out at this point, what we can do to be better down the road a piece. And you can't just continuously, go out and slouch around and not play well and think that at some point or other you're going to be able to turn it on. This is our shot right now to get back on the good foot again. We better figure out now what we can and can't do. And at that point, then we need to be successful. We can't think that we can win our league if we don't start winning some games at some point or other.
Final question for me, Coach. Both of you played Alabama A&M and came up short. Any similarities in terms of what you did and what they did against the Bulldogs that, could help you in this game?
Somewhat. We both had some success in the special teams game. We both returned a kickoff a long ways. They returned one for a touchdown. We returned one inside their 10-yard line. We both scored points. And of course, neither one of us stopped it. Alabama A&M. Akil Glass, had, like career days on both of us. So, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but, I can tell you that we both probably had a chance to win the game, which is, a decent enough comparable. We played them down there. They played Alabama A&M in Daytona Beach, so they had a little bit of advance that way. And they played in the rain too, which was a little bit of a different deal too. So, there's all kinds of comparables there that you might try to draw some kind of inferences from. I think it's pretty much just, we're gonna have to show up on Saturday and kind of see who's where. I think both teams will be much improved because of the fact that, we know each other so well, and we'll understand exactly what this game's about.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Ty.
Mr. Hill?
Good morning, Coach.
Hey, James, how are you?
Pretty good, sir. When you look at your ball club, you guys have an opportunity to play in front of your fans this weekend in Orangeburg. Can you talk about the Bulldogs Nation and everybody coming home? They get that first opportunity to watch a game this year.
Well, thank you, James. You lead me into, a promotion that we probably need to make sure that we do as much as possible at this point. We need all of our fans out to encourage, to make all kinds of noise, to do all of what you do, tailgate, just have fun, make this a festive atmosphere in a way where, you know, we build a reputation of being a place that is great to be on Saturday afternoons. And, you know, we've got our chance to, you know, to create our home environment again for the first time in a long time. It's been a long time since we played in front of a big crowd. So let's hope that we can get our fans out to see these guys. We think we've got a pretty good little team. Our record doesn't necessarily indicate it. You know, I don't know if you can actually say, man, we got a great team when you're 0-3, but I can tell you what, this team's been in every game. Well, the Clemson game, maybe, I don't know, but the Alabama A&M and both the New Mexico State game, well, we had the ball at the end of the games with an opportunity to drive down and either tie or win the game. So, you know, this team's about development at this point. We are young as all get out, but they are fun to watch. And I think it lends for a great afternoon of football excitement. So let's see if we can get all you out here, everybody pleased, to see these Bulldogs and Cats play. How about that?
Oh yeah. Coach Bethune-Cookman, BCU. When you look at that ball club, what do you see? Hard-nosed team out of Daytona, and again, a familiar foe because of I-95, the corridor. Savannah used to be in there, but you two are you know, close proximity.
Right. Yeah, just a hard-nosed football team, a young team that's trying to find itself. You can, you know, pretty much gather from the fact that they've got so many different faces, you know, within their offensive and defensive lineup. They got a big old tight end. He's a transfer. Their quarterback's a transfer. They got 2 or 3 guys. Their secondary on defense, both their corners are transfer guys. You know, so they got a lot of new faces. And part of the deal is the fact that they were off last year completely and did not play at all. So you get a difference of a 2-year break in action as opposed to, you know, looking back to their last year's team. So, you know, it's a different team, and it's one where, you know, I'm sure they're still trying to figure some things out. But, you know, Terry Sims and Coach Jones, that staff of offense and defense, you know, will generally get it together at some point or other. And once they do, then watch out. So we're concerned, you know, that those guys are backs against the wall kind of mentality at this point, and they'll do anything you possibly can, you know, to figure out, you know, what their issues are and to get them fixed and get ready to get here and get after us on Saturday.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you, James.
All right, Dr. Cavill.
Yes, Coach Pugh, as you analyze your team, are there some things that you like what you're doing on either the offensive or defensive side of the ball versus some of the concerns that you're seeing?
Yeah, my main concern is that we just give up so many points, Doc. That's just got to be fixed. And, you know, I'm hoping it's got more to do with the fact that, you know, we're playing a real high level of competition and these guys are just executing, you know, at a level that you just can't really just stop those guys. You just got to slow them down. But we haven't slowed them down very much, so that doesn't happen either. But now we've got to figure out exactly, you know, what we got to lean on, which side, whether we can stop the run and try to lean toward the pass or try to stop the pass and try one or the other. We got to figure out how to do one or the other first. At that point, then we are going about the task of trying to pull it all together. Right now, it's neither. And then on offense, we've shown signs of having a little bit of confidence there. Our quarterback, Corey Fields, has really started to come along. He throws around pretty good. He threw the ball for 350 some odd yards against New Mexico State. I think my Siri is going off on my deal. and our receiving core, our running backs, you know, our skill people, our offense in general, you know, has shown signs of being, you know, pretty decent. We like our offense. We are starting 3 freshmen in our offensive line. Can you believe that? And you know, that's pretty rare kind of stuff. And I don't know if you could depend on that to be part of your anchor, the whole outfit, the fact that, you know, those guys are as young as they are. But let me tell you what, before they're done here, they're gonna be the best group we've had here. And we've had some pretty good ones. So we're excited about it and looking forward to seeing what happens there. But We got a couple guys. Shaq Davis, our big wide receiver, has been out for the last couple of weeks. He's had a little bit of a hammy issue. We think he'll be back full speed. He's our best wide receiver. We've got another couple defensive lineman guys that have been out. Hopefully we get those back. So, you know, I think what I like is the fact that the guys that have had the opportunity to play have continued to get a little bit better. And, you know, as we get those guys to playing better, we get some of the guys back who were out for different types of reasons. Then eventually we'll be deep enough that I think you'll see a little bit of a turn and improvement in this football team. I don't know if I answered what you asked or not. I forgot that you asked. But
oh, you did. Thank you, Coach. Get up and down. And certainly understand the concern with those freshmen on the line, but they keep working at it as you always do. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Yeah,
good luck this weekend.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, Coach Pugh, thank you very much for being here with us today. And have a good week.
I appreciate you guys and look forward to seeing y'all down this way sometime soon.
Hopefully we'll be there soon. Take care, Coach.
Mhm.
The South Carolina State Bulldogs will host the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats in Orangeburg, South Carolina this Saturday. Kickoff is at 1:30 p.m. at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium. The game will be broadcast live on the Meac Digital Network on ESPN+. Up next, we have Coach Tyrone Wheatley of Morgan State. Good morning, Coach. How are you? Coach Wheatley, are you here with us? There you go. You're muted.
Yes, I'm clicking so many buttons. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Coach Pugh was talking. I was working, so my apologies.
You're fine, Coach. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Doing well.
Good. You all were off this past weekend. What did you concentrate on last week's practices?
Well, A, health was one. B, was just going back to the basics, right? Just tackling, blocking, and just doing your assignments, right? Coach Pugh, I think, said it the best was, you know, we're our worst enemy right now. We have to just get back to just playing good football and just paying attention to what the coaches call and the players going out and doing it. And that was our focus for the week.
Awesome. A couple weeks ago, you talked about resolve, attrition, and coming out standing after the ups and downs of the season. How are your players latching on to your great words of wisdom?
There are, you know, and I think right now, the word for, I think all of the coaches, I wouldn't say all, but the majority of coaches in the Meac, and I keep hearing from the coaches, young, right? Youth. These guys are young and they're resilient. And that's the one thing that's one place you got to start, right? Because it's building them character. And when they watch the film, they see how close they are and they see the mistakes they make. And everybody's just saying, hey, you know, the plays are there. We just have to go out and achieve, right? Just do what we're asked to do. And so now the resolve is there, you know, it's there. It's there. We're coming through. I think we're making a breakthrough.
Awesome. Up next from Morgan State is St. Francis, the team that Norfolk State just defeated. Did you watch the game on Saturday? And if so, how should the Bears match up against the Red Flash?
Well, you know what? It's one of those deals where it doesn't make a difference. We have to show up, right? And it goes back to what we just talked about. Not worrying about who they are and what they are. We just have to go out. No matter what the game plan is, no matter who played them. If we don't tackle well, if we don't, you know, read our keys and do what we're supposed to do, it doesn't make a difference. I tell you, you know, I'll continue to sing the praises of the Meac. You know, Norfolk State they're a really good team. You know, they did a really good job of running that ball up front. They moved some people up front and, you know, really got after St. Francis. And so for us, we have to be able to handle the movement up front against St. Francis. They do a really good job of moving defensive line movement in that way. The quarterback is a pretty good guy. He does a pretty good job of getting it around. And with defensively, we just have to tackle. We're in the right spots. We just have to tackle.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully everything will go well this weekend. Those are the questions I have for you. Do we have any media questions for Coach Wheatley? Mr. Hill?
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Pretty good, sir. How are you?
Great. Doing just fine.
Awesome. Can you talk about your Bears secondary, the defensive side of the football, and guys being able to wrap people up and tackle and stop people and just play some defense?
Well, they're solidifying themselves, on the back end in terms of being able to defend the ball in the air. But what you just talked about is we're letting too many balls get to the second level, right? So when you talk about the secondary, I think you got to start with the linebacking core, right? And up front as well. But we're letting too many balls get through our front seven into the secondary. When your DBs are making a lot of tackles, that's not good. But make no bones about it, that's one of the key points and factors that we worked on, during the bye week is hitting and wrapping up. A lot of these guys, once again, we talk about youth. A lot of these guys are young, and they used to making tackles, just throwing shoulders in there, and they don't realize, that's why we have all these tackling apparatuses, the rings, the circles, and all these things. You got to wrap up these guys, right? You got to wrap them up. But they're getting better, and once again, they're noticing their faults, they're correcting them, and I can't wait to see until game time to see the improvements that we made, because once we make these improvements, we're going to be a pretty good team.
Coach, going forward this Saturday, what would you like to envision, and what do you see when you think about Saturday's game?
Well, we always want to envision a victory, right? A victory. But what do I envision? Once again, it's just plain and simple. Tackle, run, throw, catch, right? Nothing pretty, nothing cute. Don't try and make a don't try and make a play. Making a play is doing your job. Just do your job. If we could do those things, I think we'll come out with a victory.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
No, thank you.
Mr. Lee?
Morning, Tyrone. I was wondering if you could talk about what's it like coaching Terrius?
Well, it's kind of like when TJ was here. They move out the house and all of a sudden they come back, and it's good to have them around. It's really good to have them around. The second thing that I love about it is he's just, he's my son. And not saying that Virginia Tech didn't use him appropriately. The ins and outs of this young man, right? You know who he is and what motivates him, what makes him tick. So you kind of put him in the spots that he needs to be in for success. Unfortunately, he went down with a shoulder injury, but, he's around, he's in it. He's, he gets on my nerves a little bit because now he wants to be a coach, and I tell him, I say, listen, man, just because you have a direct line to the coach, don't use it that much, right? So, but that's the other portion of it, because now I get to see him grow, as a man, because when he left home, he went away to school. Now I get to see that portion of him. I get to see his football maturity, and we get that, the conversations are a little different over the phone as they are in person, because now he gets to come in the room, we get to draw on the board, we get to talk, and it's special. It's very special.
Did you ever coach him in the past, either like youth league or Pee Wee football or anything like that?
I didn't coach him. I only coached him in track. That was the only thing I coached him, high jump and long jump. I let football and all the other sports he played, soccer. I let the coaches coach him in that. I just only really coached him in track. And like I said, and that was just high jump and long jump. And that was really, but it was frustrating coaching him in those two, because he's a very talented young man. So he just wanted to go out there and just jump. And I told him, I said, there are some little intricate details you need to grasp before you can just go out and go. But I tell you, which is a funny thing. I was a 6'8" high jumper, and he cleared his height of 6'8". He was 23.10 and a quarter. I was 23.10 and a quarter in the state meet. So we equaled each other in the state meet, which is really odd, So we have the talks about who's the best athlete in the house. And he said, well, we're equal. But I told him, I said, well, I edged you. I said, my longest jump is a 24/7 in a long jump. And he's like, oh, doesn't matter. Well, what did you get in the state meet? So, but it's great. It was great coaching him in track. But like I said, I let other coaches coach him, because I felt it was very important for someone else to teach him and coach him, and to hear other people say other things to him. Although it's the same message, but just a different way, right? And I felt that was very important for him to be coached by others growing up.
My last question, Tyrone, is what does it mean to you that he plays the same position you play?
You know what? For TJ, I like him playing a different position because there was, the comparisons. It's hard for your son to be compared, right? And even when he was being recruited, people will look at me and say, wow, I said, no, he's not going to grow into me. He's has his mother's side of the genes, right? So he's a slender young man, but he still can run, he's still powerful. But I think we've kind of grown out of that and grown past that. And I've embraced it, so I can coach him, I can give him tips, and whether he takes them or not, but it's fun having him as a running back. It really is.
Thank you, Tyrone.
Thank you.
All right, Coach Wheatley, thank you so much for being here with us, and good luck this week.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Morgan State will host the St. Francis Red Flash in Baltimore, Maryland this Saturday. Kickoff is set for 12 noon at Hughes Stadium, and the game will be broadcast live on the Meac Digital Network on ESPN+. At this time, we'd like to conclude our weekly football coaches video conference, but before we end the call, we'd like to thank each of the media members who've been with us today, the sports information offices for their assistance with today's call, and as always, the Meac would like to thank its corporate partners for their support. The next call will be next Monday, October 4th, beginning at 10 a.m. And as always, for up-to-date news on the Meac football and other sponsored sports, log into meacsports.com, like the Meac on facebook.com, and follow Meac Sports on Twitter and Instagram. And finally, subscribe to the Meac Digital Network on YouTube. Once again, everyone, thank you for being here. Please have a safe and enjoyable week, and we will see you next Monday.